Everyone thinks passion begins with gifts and sweet compliments. But I learned early, that's the language of weak men. The real magnet of desire lives where morality collapses, where silence is heavier than words, where absence cuts deeper than presence. It isn't about looks. It isn't about money. It isn't even about clever lines. It's about one forbidden principle Machiavelli whispered centuries ago. People don't chase what's safe. They chase what they fear to lose, yet cannot resist. If I don't move with this truth, tomorrow someone else will write my story in her memory and erase me from it. So I act differently. And tonight, I'll reveal the single Machiavellian move that makes her crave me before the first kiss. 5 centuries ago, Machiavelli stripped away illusions and wrote what men still fear to admit. People are moved not by kindness, but by fear and desire. Kings, soldiers, lovers, it didn't matter. The pattern was the same. He warned that mercy without strength leads to contempt, and affection without control dissolves into boredom. Most ignored him. Those who listened ruled. Modern science only confirms what he already knew. Neuroscience shows the primal brain responds to shock, danger, and unpredictability more than to safety or politeness. Dopamine does not spike when life is predictable. It spikes when tension builds and breaks, when uncertainty vibrates through the nervous system. That is why polite gestures vanish from memory, while one controlled silence, one perfectly timed withdrawal, lingers for years. This is not a trick. It is not manipulation. It is the underlying code of attraction. A woman's instincts don't analyze your logic. They scan your presence. They respond to contrast. Absence after intensity, command after stillness, danger wrapped in calm. Her conscious mind may demand kindness, but her subconscious craves the man who interrupts her rhythm and forces her to feel. I have tested both paths. Flowers, compliments, instant replies, the results are always the same. Indifference. But when I break patterns, when I stay calm while she spirals, when I leave at the moment she least expects it, something shifts. Her body remembers me even when her logic resists. She doesn't replay my words. She replays the tension I created. By the end of this piece, you will know the 6 pillars I rely on. 6 strategic moves that bypass her rehearsed defenses and touch the instincts she cannot control. Each one is cold, simple, and repeatable. Together they form a structure not of attraction, but of obsession. You don't need perfect looks. You don't need wealth. You need the discipline to embody these pillars without flinching. Most men never will. That is why they remain forgettable. I don't play for attention. I play for gravity. And when you master these laws, you will never ask for desire again. You will command it. Most men follow a script. Dinner, drinks, endless talking, desperate attempts to impress. That's why they vanish from her memory. I don't follow that script. I break it, because obsession begins when her nervous system is pulled out of autopilot. Pillar 1 movement, breaking the script. I never take her where she expects. If she comes from a noisy co-working space, I don't invite her to another crowded bar. I lead her to the rooftop of an abandoned factory. Walls painted with neon graffiti, the city glowing beneath us. The silence up there bends the air. Her pulse rises. She doesn't know why. That's the point. The primal brain doesn't crave comfort. It craves the jolt of danger without chaos. In relationships, the same law applies. Instead of repeating safe routines, I change the setting. A late-night drive with no destination. A quiet museum after hours. An unexpected detour. Each shift breaks monotony and ties me to adrenaline. Your move. Stop offering her the ordinary. Create contrast so her body reacts before her mind rationalizes. Machiavelli wrote that the unusual always compels more than the ordinary. Pillar 2, attitude, the invisible crown. She once teased me, "Are you always this calm?" I answered with nothing but a longer pause and a subtle smile. No explanations. No defense. She shifted in her seat, uncertain. That uncertainty is the hook. Most men collapse under teasing, they justify, they laugh too loudly, they explain themselves. I don't. My silence communicates more than words ever could. You cannot shake me. My calm becomes a mirror, forcing her to feel her own restlessness. In a relationship, it's the same. She tests me. Anger, withdrawal, emotional storms. I stay unmoved, not cold but grounded. And in that stillness, she feels security mixed with curiosity. Your move, when tested, pause. Say less. Let her tension crash against your calm. Machiavelli warned, the man who doesn't flinch controls the frame. Breaking the script and wearing the invisible crown, these are the first moves. They create the opening tension. And once she feels it, she will chase the source without knowing why. By now she feels the shift. I'm not like the men who overstay their welcome. I don't feed her endless comfort. I disrupt. I vanish. I return when the rhythm demands it. This is the point where attraction tilts into something sharper, where her instincts begin working against her. Pillar 3, strategic absence. At the peak of a lively conversation, when her laughter is loudest and her eyes are fixed on me, I stand. Calmly, I say, I've got one more thing to handle. We'll talk later. Then I leave her with friends, with noise, with the unfinished story. She smiles outwardly, but I know what happens next. The Zygarnik effect begins its silent work. Unfinished moments haunt the brain. Her dopamine, primed for more, has nowhere to land. So it loops back to me. In a relationship, it's the same. I don't stay glued to her side every hour. I give intensity, then retreat to my own world. She scrolls her phone, wonders where I am, why I didn't reply instantly. That small gap of absence makes my presence heavier when I return. Your move, never end on comfort. End at the high point and walk away. Machiavelli said, men remember more the sudden withdrawal than the steady gift. Pillar 4, boldness. Strike in the perfect second. Later, under a midnight rain, the moment arrives. Raindrops slide from her fingers as she pushes wet hair from her face. Our eyes lock longer than politeness allows. The air thickens. I step closer, slow, wordless. I don't ask permission. I don't announce desire. I let tension speak. She feels it in her breath, in her skin. That one step rewrites the dynamic. I act. She reacts. In long-term bonds, boldness matters even more. Not constant gestures, but precise ones, choosing the right second to act without hesitation. A touch in silence, a kiss when words fail, a decision taken without debate. Your move, wait, hold, then strike when her guard drops. Machiavelli taught that fortune favors the bold, not the reckless, but the one who moves at the exact moment the door opens. Absence builds the hunger. Boldness delivers the jolt. Together they turn curiosity into craving. Now the atmosphere is no longer casual. Every silence hums. Every glance lingers. She doesn't understand why she feels pulled, but her body already knows. This is where magnetism peaks, not through noise but through precision. Pillar 5, magnetic touch. Most men grab too soon, touch too much, and kill the tension. I do the opposite. I let my hand brush lightly against her wrist. Barely a second, then I withdraw. The absence of touch is more intoxicating than the touch itself. Her skin remembers, her nervous system searches for more. She wonders, why did he stop? That unanswered question becomes desire. In relationships, the same law rules. Instead of drowning her in constant affection, I give calibrated doses. A hand on her back when she isn't expecting it. Then nothing for hours. The rhythm trains her body to crave. Just as intermittent rewards addict gamblers, controlled touch anchors her to me. Your move, reduce the frequency, increase the weight. Touch like a secret, not a habit. Machiavelli would remind you, what is rare is valued. What is constant is consumed. Pillar 6, cold reading. She laughs too loudly, too suddenly, as if covering something. I lean in slightly and say, calm and low, you laugh when you hide a real thought. Her gaze freezes. That second, the mask falls. Because I didn't flatter. I didn't probe. I revealed. When I show her I see what others miss, the frame shifts. Now she isn't evaluating me. I'm evaluating her. And women don't forget the man who reads them deeper than they read themselves. In long-term bonds, this becomes even more powerful. She vents about work, about friends, about frustrations. Instead of fixing, I decode. You carry more than they realize. One sentence, and she feels stripped of her disguise. Your move. Observe patterns. Expose what is unspoken. Not as attack, but as precision. Machiavelli taught that the prince must know not just appearances, but hidden motives. So must you. Touch burns into her skin. Reading pierces her mask. Together they create the climax of magnetism. Desire she cannot escape. Now I am no longer a guest in her evening. I am the center of her orbit. The man she cannot erase. 6 moves merge into one rhythm. Presence, silence, disappearance, decisive action, touch, and the ability to see through masks. Together, they form a law of gravity she cannot resist. Most men beg for attention. I withdraw it. Most men explain themselves. I let silence explain for me. Most men try to impress. I create tension. That difference is everything. Desire isn't given, it's engineered. Not by charm, but by control. This is not entertainment. It is initiation. If you read carefully, you now hold the forbidden Machiavellian sequence of seduction. Use it and you stop waiting to be chosen. You become the one who creates the choice. If this opened your eyes, leave a single word below. Share your own unexpected setting. A midnight subway ride, an art loft after party. Show me you've stepped outside the script.